We're also proud to lead on Colombia's peace process at the UN Security Council and have contributed £60 million in support of peace, stability and security since 2015.
So a recent newspaper report in Colombia revealing details of an undercover operation by the Colombian Attorney General's office, apparently designed to entrap FARC peace negotiators and undermine the peace process, is alarming. The Attorney General's office, led by Néstor Humberto Martinez, reportedly provided 5 kilos of cocaine for the operation, but this and other relevant information was withheld from the courts. I ask my noble Lord the Minister, was the British ambassador or were other British authorities made aware of those details at the time of the arrest of the FARC peace negotiator in 2018? And what is the government's assessment of these revelations?
Colombia remains one of the largest producers of cocaine in the world, amongst others. The violence also that we currently see affects local communities and former FARC combatants, led by the issues we've seen around drugs.
So can my noble friend say what support the government now gives to the Colombian Press Freedom Foundation and how effective they assess that to be in the face of the continuous threats of rape, kidnap and death that journalists face?
We are aware of allegations that members of the Colombian military have been illegally gathering surveillance on activists, including journalists and opposition politicians. And we have raised this directly with the Colombian authorities.
Can the Minister say what public support has been given by the UK Embassy in Bogotá to this war crimes tribunal in the light of the attempts by President Duque to undermine its work?
Let me assure the noble lady, in my visit to Colombia, I made it absolutely clear the need, whilst this is an independent judicial body, that it should not be interfered with.
The Transitional Justice Court, which was created in Colombia by the peace agreement, has been hailed by the International Criminal Court as a benchmark for the world. But is the government aware, our government aware, that the Colombian government is undermining the court's mandate?
The UK can be proud of the fact that it's contributed to the importance of an inclusive peace process, and we will continue to do so.
Colombia is the world's most dangerous country for environmental activists, with more than 60 murders in 2019. How are we engaging to help protect these activists?
Colombia remains a human rights priority country, but I agree with her. It's quite shocking, the statistics we see. I mean, with the latest figures that the UN has released, at least 45 human rights defenders have been killed this year alone.
Colombia's Supreme Court declared that state security forces systematically violate citizens' democratic right to peaceful protest, and the Colombian army has this year been implicated in killings in rural areas. Given that the UK funding to train Colombian police, are steps being taken to ensure that human rights concerns in the Colombian security forces are properly addressed?
The concerns he raised are real, and he's quite right to raise them on the floor of the House. I assure him in all the exchanges we have, including our continuing support, be it financial or technical, these issues of human rights obligations of those that are trained and are there to protect people is very much at the forefront of our discussions.
Does Her Majesty's government accept the description by the head of the UN mission in Colombia, Carlos Ruiz Macia, of, quotes, an epidemic of violence against social leaders, human rights defenders and former combatants? And if so, what are they doing to address the situation, especially as regards the Colombian security forces?
The situation for human rights defenders is dire, and we remain deeply concerned about the continued presence of illegal armed groups in Colombia, their violence, their intimidation, particularly on local people, let alone human rights defenders. But I assure the noble lord, as I've already said, that in all our support, particularly as we continue to press the existing government and the President for a renewal and a real vigour behind the peace talks, that they are inclusive, but in all their actions that the important works of human rights groups, human rights defenders, and more generally the citizens of Colombia are totally and fully protected.